Guess who's back? Back again. I am back. Call a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? It's me. Hello, and today we are starting off the Roberto the Hornet YouTube channel. That's right. We had a few technical difficulties with the last one, but we're starting from a fresh page, blank slate, and all that basically. And today, in this video, we are going to be reacting to Vladimir Ivić being sacked as Watford manager and his departure, and also reacting to the appointment of Xisco Muñoz. That is who we've brought in. Who's that? I don't know, I've got to be honest. But we're going to try and react to it, and make sure you smash that like button, subscribe for more content on this new channel, and make sure you turn that notification bell on so you don't miss a video. And let's get into the video. Right then, so how am I going to start off? Well, let's just say, around Watford these past few weeks, there's been a lot of negativity. I mean, I'm not a fan personally of our club's philosophy, the fact that it's just constant changes, because it just, after a while, does become exhausting, and it's just a bit embarrassing. Like, we're becoming a bit of a laughing stock at this point, because, you know, it's basically like a them against us mentality, that everyone in the football world and media is basically looking at us thinking, oh, I wouldn't want to be managed by that club, or I wouldn't want to support that club because the way they run their football isn't good. And therefore all the clubs are thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to go anywhere near you. So it begs the question, why do we even persist with this when we know that actually it's not going to attract many managers? The managers aren't going to want to come to a club that their job status is not stable. Like, it's just common sense, really. So it's not good at all, and the Pozzos have done it again. So we have got rid of Vladimir Ivić after just 4 months being at the club. Now, the thing is, there's a balance that you have to get with this, and it's hard to say, because when we do go through tough times and we encounter rough waters, the question that we should ask ourselves is, does the manager always deserve the blame? Is it always Ivić? And should Ivić not necessarily be such a victim that he has been this season? I mean, you could say at times certain players have been scapegoated, the likes of Nathaniel Chalobah, the likes of João Pedro, when we've not been winning games. But at the same time, you know, the manager has to have a part to play. But is the manager the sole reason? Not necessarily. So I think there's a thing that you have to give more responsibility and stress on the players and their role at the club, because even in the games we've won this season, against Birmingham we weren't good enough. In the game against Derby we were very, very sloppy and just needed a bit of magic at the last minute from João Pedro. The only game that I'd say we played at least half decent was actually the win against Blackburn, where we actually attacked them from the start and basically killed off the game. And we don't do that enough, but in terms of our performances this season, they haven't even been that good. And, you know, you could say, oh, well, you know, you're still very much a team that's going for the championship, but not if we're keeping up those performances, not if we're doing that week in, week out, because it's not going to be sustainable. And the difference this season between a team like us and a team like Bournemouth and Norwich is that they know where they want to improve, and it's scoring goals, because they really struggled with that last season. So they've got players at this level that can score goals, the likes of Teemu Pukki, the likes of Dominic Solanke, and you can bet your money on them most of the time getting the goals. But with our team, we're not really like full of confidence at all. We've come down from the Premier League and we've kind of thought, well, all right, let's go with this. You know, new season should be fine, and we've not actually appreciated how the Championship's no easy run. Basically, it's harder than you think when you've got a lot of aging players. You've got players that haven't necessarily had much experience, but we do have a good squad on paper. That's the thing. So the fact that we're not playing well, and under Vladimir Ivić, you'd argue not putting our tactics out correctly, is a real shame. I think we've got to think about Ivic's time at Vicarage Road and at Watford and whether his sacking is deserved. Now, yes, you'd say the performances haven't been good, but I kind of feel before Ivić was sacked, I was saying, I don't know what to say really, because the whole of social media was blowing up after that loss against Huddersfield. It was an absolutely terrible result, a game that we were expected to win, and we lost it very comfortably. But I kind of didn't want to go either way of Ivić in, Ivić out, because at the end of the day, he's only human. He did the best he could, and what you got to remember is, before that Huddersfield game, we were sitting third in the league, and I don't think many people would have said Ivić out before that. So you could argue it's a accumulation of the performances, but ultimately the players have to take some responsibility too. I mean, part of me thinks it's a good call because the style of play we've been doing this season isn't going to be useful, because for you to get promoted in the Championship, you have to have the right balance between attack and defence. And it seems like we've almost put all our eggs in one basket. We've said, okay, last season the defence wasn't good enough. And I think some people were a bit naive to think that Vladimir Ivić was going to come in and play attacking football. He kind of did that a little bit at Maccabi Tel Aviv and at PAOK, but really he started off with a defensive unit, and that's what he was trying to do here. But the problem with the Championship is it's relentless, so you can't just stick to one thing and hope that the other comes along with it in terms of our attacking as well. So in that respect, Ivić got it wrong, but he was new to the Championship at the end of the day. So is there a sense that he's really in the blame? Kind of, but I think it has to be shared. But the interesting thing is that Vladimir Ivić as a man, as a character, is not exactly an approachable person, it seems. At least that's what the media is saying. That, he gave a sense of harshness and a sense the players couldn't really talk to him and improve with him, because it was almost like it was like too strict, it was too restraining, and the players felt they couldn't be free to play their way. And obviously the players have to play under the style of the manager, but there's still got to be a kind of balanced relationship for them to thrive in any division, in any sport really. So yeah, with that in mind, I think Ivić has not gone about it the best way. But do I think that sacking him right now was the right decision? I mean, time will tell, but it just, as I said, it's a little bit knee-jerk. It's a little bit, typical Watford, because we haven't had him for that long, and we have been, like, the lowest I think we've been this season is probably about 9th. And you could say, it's early in the season, but we have already had about a third of the season, because maybe even half of that. No, a half of the season, because it's 42 games, we've played 20, nearly 21. So, I think the fans started to grow impatient, but maybe the fact that they were so Ivić out has actually maybe forced the Watford board to actually be a bit too panicked into making a decision, and it's actually maybe forced the wrong decision, and maybe we're worse off than what we were with Ivić now, because we have brought in Xisco Muñoz, the Spanish former player, and I've got to say, I don't know a lot about him, and that's what a lot of people are complaining about. So with this guy, he doesn't really sound like he's managed at all. So he's had 10 games for his previous club, and I think it's Dinamo something. I forgot the name, but I'll put it in the description. So yeah, it doesn't get you excited, that does it? Because we don't have faith that we're actually going to know how to get promoted. There's all very well bringing in a manager from another league and hoping that it gels, but at the end of the day, off the back of that sacking, you'd think that we'd look at it and say, actually, tell you what, it's not working. We need to find someone that knows the Championship, knows how to get promoted, and will get us straight back up where we want to be in the Premier League. So there were some candidates before, obviously, the announcing of Xisco Muñoz, but they haven't been looked up on. I mean, Slaven Bilic is a difficult one because, he's probably going to be in a bad state of mind after getting sacked. And you could argue he knows how to get promoted, and maybe at Premier League level, if we did get promoted, we'd just take someone on differently that can stay in the Premier League. But I don't know. I just feel we should have got a bit more of an ambitious and well-known manager. And you'd argue Eddie Howe is the dream job, or at least the dream candidate for the job. But was it realistically ever going to happen? No, because Eddie Howe left a good legacy at Bournemouth, and I think when he got relegated, it really did affect him. So he didn't want to really step back into that football panic and put football stress, really. And at Watford, would he really be fulfilling his managerial potential? You know, I know I'm kind of dissing my own club a bit here, but we haven't been sustainable in the last 2 seasons. So I think, to be honest, he wouldn't want to come to us. And as I said before, would someone like Eddie Howe want to come to a club that doesn't have much stability in terms of securing a manager? It's just not ideal. And to be honest, I hope that this man Munoz can do the bits. Munoz is a man that is going to be under pressure because of the fact he's so unknown. But you never know in the football world. We could get this guy and he could do an absolute beauty and win us the league. We simply do not know how he's going to actually get the best out of the players, because like we've got a good squad, as I've said. So it's about how we deploy our tactics in these games and getting the best out of players to basically have an overall nice atmosphere in the squad, because that's seeming to be not the case in the last few weeks with Ivić. So I think he does possibly deserve it just because of the way he's gone about his like interactions with the players. In terms of his managerial skills, you could argue it's a bit harsh, and maybe the fact that some of his substitutions haven't been logical and they have maybe caused us to lose certain points. You could point towards that, but at the end of the day, we have got rid of a manager after just 4 months of having him. So it's really hard because the Championship is such a competitive league, and I'm thinking maybe the Pozzos just thought there isn't time to think about this. We have to get someone else in because they're not getting where they want us to be. And you know, we did lose against Huddersfield, but we really have to be beating those sort of teams. So if it takes another man to get these players motivated, I don't know, maybe that's the way to go. It's just, it feels like when we're always changing manager, the players don't really have anything to go by. They can't trust by one thing, and they don't actually have an identity that they can stick to. So it does leave the players in a bit of disarray and confusion. So more than anything else, I think if we can get this manager, on the side of the players, and if it works, then we stick with it. We don't chop and change. I know that's seeming to be our philosophy, and we've got our 5th manager in a year, which is absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, that's the philosophy of our club, and we just have to go with it. But it's not good. It could be a very long season if we're keeping up this kind of strange decisions. But at the end of the day, we've just got to have hope that this guy knows what he's doing. I just really don't know much about him. So, comment down below if you've heard of him before. Comment down below your thoughts on our season. Will we do well? Will we get promoted? It's a really tough one to call because there's so many Championship teams you'd say probably should get promoted because they have the squad size, they have the squad quality, and ultimately they have, players that should be playing at the top level. But I think we certainly have one of the strongest squads in the Championship. It's just how we use their players to the best potential and how the manager can get us some more important points. But thanks for watching my reaction to the sacking and the appointment of the new manager, Xisco Muñoz. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.